Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro on this Monday, December 18. It is 10:20 p.m. It is later than usual. Why? Because the game that started between the Montreal Canadiens and the Winnipeg Jets, a 7:30 p.m. start, ended a little bit later than usual, of course, and get used to it because with the Canadiens on a 7-game road trip, and we're going to show you the schedule in just a couple of minutes, there are some games that start later than usual, which means that the Sick Podcast will start a little bit later than usual. Last year, we would start at 10 p.m., even if there was a game that wasn't over yet. But I find, you know what? Everyone wants to watch the end of the game. They're not going to do two things at once and watch the game and watch a Sick Podcast at the same time. And plus, I want their undivided attention. So that's exactly what I'm getting tonight because the game is over and your Montreal Canadiens, by the way, were victorious. So for those doubting, they're going up against the Winnipeg and the Jets have done this and the Jets have done that and this and that. Pipi, papa, pipi, papa. I heard my buddy George Larac earlier today on BPM Sports actually with his op and master control, Ben Roger, who predicted the Canadiens, and George predicted the Jets. George looked at Ben Roger and he said, Ben, my $100 to your 10. If you want to take the Montreal Canadiens and they lose, all you got to give me is $10. But if Winnipeg loses, I'll give you $100. And Ben took the bet. And then I went on about a minute later and I said, hold on a second. I think the Canadiens are in tough tonight too in Winnipeg. But at the same time, Canadiens beat the Jets back in the end of October 4-3. Traditionally, they have Winnipeg's number. Winnipeg's without Kyle Connor. You know what? I'll take that bet. And he said, no, I can't give you that bet. I'm giving it to Ben Roger, but I can't give it to you. So he didn't give it to me, unfortunately. It's too bad because I would have been $100 richer tonight. Yeah, the Montreal Canadiens beat the Winnipeg Jets. Let's bring up the score sheet if we can before we get to tonight's guest. Reminding you all, of course, that the Sick Podcast brought to you in part by several partners and sponsors, beginning with Energy Transportation Group, as well as La Bit at TB, as well as Playground, and as well as Accent Insurance Solutions. Speaking of Playground, I want to let you know that we had the meet and greet on Saturday night at Playground. It was a lot of fun. I saw some of you there, and we introduced the place to you. I gave some of you the tour, and you know what? We showed you the brand new restaurants, the etc., the Drunken Dragon. You saw the rail. You saw the poker room. You saw the slot machines. You saw the live DJ. You saw the music. You saw the entertainment. You saw the ambiance. You saw the valet. You saw the hotel. You saw the service. You saw everything. I hope you loved it. And I know I loved it. And I have a pretty good feeling that you're all going to go back. So, and a special shout out to Stéphane in Quebec Cité. The fact that Stéphane drove 3 hours down from Quebec. And as a matter of fact, he got held up. There was an accident. And I believe St. Hyacinthe, I think it was St. Hyacinthe. I could be wrong, or St. Eustache or something. But there was an accident somewhere along the line. He got held up for another 2 hours. It was a 5-hour drive for him to come down, but I'm happy I had the chance to meet him. I wish I could have spent more time with him. Unfortunately, I was jumping to pretty much go see everyone or as many people as I possibly could. But Stefan, if you're watching, the fact that you drove like 5 hours, I'm very touched. Please get a hold of Agnello because I have a little care package prepared for you as a token of my appreciation for you making the trek down, because I very much appreciate you. So thank you for doing that. I was really, really touched that you did. Once again, let's bring on the score sheet. Let's bring up the score sheet if we can before getting to Philippe Boucher. No goals in period number 1. Period number 2, Josh Anderson, who scored 2 goals on Saturday night. This is the way it works for goal scorers. Confidence is everything. Anderson scored Saturday night. He was a monster, by the way, with 2 goals, 6 shots on goal. And I mentioned to George Larac, you know what? This is an opportunity. Get Anderson out there. Get him out there because you want to make sure that he stays hot. Caufield scored a goal last game. Let's try and get Anderson a goal. Let's try and get Caufield a goal. Anderson, mission accomplished. 4:57 at the period number 2. Assists going to Jake Evans and Mike Matheson. Matheson did a great job by keeping the puck inside the blue line, and then Evans was able to get it to him. And then there's a shot, and Anderson's able to pick up the rebound and go right off of him. Christian Dvorak, a pass from Brendan Gallagher to Josh Anderson. Anderson in the glove, puts it down, goes off his stick. It goes straight to Dvorak. The referees took a look at it. Rick Bowness challenged, and the goal stood, and the Montreal Canadiens went on a power play. They're up 2-0. Velarde, with 56 seconds left to go in period number 2, in close, he narrows the lead to 2-1. On to period number 3 they go, and the Winnipeg Jets were able to tie up the game on a goal by Cole Perfetti. If we can bring up the score sheet, period number 3 scoring. Do we have it? It looks like we don't have it yet. All right, okay. Well, we'll bring it up when we have it. I thought I sent it, but that's okay. It's an opportunity for me to bring in. Anyway, listen, I have it here. And just so I get it right, it's Cole Perfetti. We have it, I think. There we go. Cole Perfetti, 12:24 into period number 3. He ties the game at 2 once again, in close. Boom, he's able to jam it home. And then Nick Ehlers picks up a penalty in the, with less than a minute to go in period number 3. He trips Michael Matheson. The Canadiens go on the power play. They're unable to get the winner in regulation, but in overtime, 1:09 in, it goes from Suzuki to Caufield to Barron. A wrist shot beats Connor Hellebuck, and the Montreal Canadiens beat the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 3-2 in overtime. Justin Barron has played versus his brother and the Winnipeg Jets 3 times, and his record is 3-0. Without further ado, former NHLer Philippe Boucher, comment ça va?
Bien toi.
Hey, Phil, how you doing, buddy?
Really good, thanks. How about you?
Good. Doing very, very well. It was nice to see you. I was at BPM Sport. They had a little get-together tonight, of course, to celebrate the holiday season. So I went there, watched period number 1 there with the boys. Yeah. And then I said, guys, I got to come home to get home in time for period number 2, watch period number 2 and period number 3 at home. Yeah. So it's a nice night. It's always, I like seeing people, you know the way. So I saw a bunch of listeners and viewers at Playground on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I saw them earlier this evening at Le Relais Boreal on Jean Talon West. And now I get to see you. So I feel like my day and my night is complete, my friend.
That I can help you with that. It's always fun. Honestly, it's always fun. I do your show and I do GC and I walk around. I don't go into hockey rinks as much as I used to, but it's nice to see people that love the game and like to hear us. They don't agree with us all the time, but it's very nice to talk to people, and everybody's passionate about Montreal and with their ups and downs and all that. So it's fun to be around and hear people talk about what do you think about what we have to say.
Yeah, before we get to the game, let's start with this. 32 points after 31 games. If I would have told you that before the season started, I would have said, Phil, listen, here's the deal, okay? Kirby Dach will get hurt in period number 4 of the season. He'll be out for the season. David Savard's going to go down in game number 5. He'll be out for 6 weeks. Caden Gooley will miss 4 games. Raphael Harvey-Pinard will miss about 20 games. Jack Guy will miss a couple of games. Newhook's going to be hurt. He's going to miss about 10 weeks. But at the 31 game mark, the Canadiens are going to have 32 points. You would have told me what?
I'm not sure what I would have said, to be honest. It's basically a 500 team. I think what the plan was to have Doc, and we've talked about that for many times now. Doc and Slafkovsky probably together. Slafkovsky's coming together now on a different line. I would have hoped so. I would have hoped that Montreal would be a little bit farther ahead right now, and then would have more points and challenge for a playoff spot. But they're not that far behind.
No, they're there, Phil. They're there.
I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but my problem is, why is this road trip happening every year? It's going to be very tough for them to go 500 on this trip. And tonight was one of the toughest games to win, and they won it. And they played well against the Islanders. That was a good team. So maybe they're going to get on the roll, and maybe they're going to get back in the playoff picture, which nobody would have thought early in the year that Montreal could be in the playoff picture. But, with Doc being out, which is, to me, it was a centerpiece of what Montreal was trying to build. And with Savard as the big brother that hasn't played that many games, seeing Barron score tonight, which I never really thought early in the year, if Montreal was healthy, that Barron would have a role and would find a place for himself on this team. He's the goal-scoring guy on the back end. So it is positive. It's ups and downs, because I want to see Montreal do well. I'm not a fan. I have no chips into it, but yeah, I'd rather talk about Montreal on a positive note. So I guess 32 points at this time of the year with what they've been through and the decision they made with going with 3 goaltenders and a little bit of a controversy there, not keeping anyone happy at that position, and having to test other players in the depth chart, mainly on D. Struble is a good defenseman, right? Without injuries, do we get to know him? Probably not this year, or maybe if they do trade an older guy at the end of the year. So far, so good. I hope they would have done a little bit better, but so far, so good. And 32 points is not all that bad, especially after the last 2 wins.
Yeah, I'm going to answer your question, by the way. Traditionally, Disney on Ice.
Yeah.
This year, Cirque du Soleil. So the Cirque du Soleil is in Montreal on the 21st of December.
Yeah.
The 22nd of September.
Yeah.
The 23rd of September. The 24th of September. The 26th of September. Pardon me. I'm saying September. December.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
December.
Pardon me. Let me do that again. Let me do that again. It's a little bit rattled now. Okay. The 21st of December. The 22nd of December. The 23rd of December. The 24th of December. The 26th of December. The 27th of December. The 28th. The 29th. The 30th. And the 31st. So to answer your question, Phil Boucher, why does this road trip have to happen for the Montreal Canadiens every year? So they can take the money that Disney or Cirque du Soleil are throwing at them.
I guess it's fine. Well, I'm no businessman. I don't have the money to own an NHL franchise. But if I'm right now, it's a do or die moment for the team this year, and it's killed it in the past where it's been a very tough road trip. And if I'm let's say a Sidney Crosby of this world, or a Wayne Gretzky that I've played with them, or I played with Modano and a bunch of guys on teams that were trying to contend, I would go to my ownership group and to the GM or to the president. Do we really have to do this? Do we really have to go without seeing our families for Christmas and New Year's on a year that we're trying to win it all? So to me, that's the only thing we do GC together. I've brought that up every year since I've been doing GC, and I bring it up with you. It bugs me a little bit. But hey, you know what? A lot of teams like having road trips early in the year to get together. Hey, maybe Montreal comes together at this time of the year with a young team on the road, because they did play well tonight. Yeah. Winnipeg is a very good hockey club. The Islanders, yes, they played the night before, but it's a very good hockey team. Maybe they're coming together in a special time of the year, because it is, although they're not home, it's a fun time of the year. Maybe your parents can meet you on the road. You still go. They still have a decent break at Christmas where they're all going to come back and be with family. Maybe it's a turning point for them this year. Who knows?
Yeah. Let's we talked about the playoffs before, Phil, The Boston Bruins, of course, are first in the Atlantic with 43 points. Toronto is up next at 38. Florida also has 38, but they play 2 games more than Toronto. In the Metropolitan, it's the Rangers with 43 points. The Flyers, surprisingly so, with 37 points. And the Islanders with 36 points. The wild card spot. The Hurricanes have 35. Washington 34. Detroit 34. New Jersey 33. Tampa 33. Montreal 32. So add it all up, the Canadiens are 2 points out of a wild card spot, 2 points out of a wild card spot, which is where the Capitals are. But the Capitals hold 3 games in hand on the Canadiens. So let's just call it 3 points out of a wild card spot. Okay. So 3 points out of a wild card spot. What a crucial, pivotal trip this is. Let's bring up the schedule for the rest of the month of December if we can. All right. Here you have it. The win tonight in Winnipeg, game 1 of the road trip. Game 2 is going to be on Thursday night in Minnesota. Thursday night in Minnesota is game 2. And the Minnesota Wild played tonight versus the Penguins and lost. Okay. So that's going to be a hungry.
Without who in net?
Without Marc-Andre Fleury.
I see. I don't get that one.
Listen, they dropped the ball on this one. The Minnesota Wild dropped the ball on this one. Gustafsson's having a really good season. But it was, it was talked about, it was written about, and it was, it was Marc-Andre Fleury's last opportunity, quite likely last opportunity to play a game in Pittsburgh.
Let me bring you back to tonight's game. Okay. Why was Barron on the ice at the end of the game? He has scored goals this year, right? He's scored a few. And who is he playing against? And who's in the stands?
His brother and
his brother. Family's in the stands.
Correct.
Power play's not working out. Get Madison out of there, which is, penalty, whatever. And then who do we put? Hey, why not him? Because sometimes there's a situation that calls to put a player on the ice or whatever. You play against your brother, blah, blah, blah. You give him more ice time. I think he played over 20 minutes tonight, which he does once in a while. But what do you do when you go to Pittsburgh and you have Marc-Andre Fleury?
Do you think it was that, or do you think it's just Justin Barron usually is the defenseman on the ice in the second wave of the power play?
Usually he's there in the second wave of the power play, but he made a difference. Why did he make the difference? He has a special motivation.
Of course.
So whether it comes from the coach, so what about Marc-Andre Fleury maybe going back to Pittsburgh for the last time? And honestly, Bill Guerin's a good friend of mine. He's the general manager of the hockey team, and he just named a new coach. So I'm sure he's going to let them make decision and not get. He's not going to decide who's going to be the starting goalie every night. But how do you miss that one? And I guess you don't. Fleury's probably going to play against Montreal because the lost tonight in Pittsburgh. But that's something that, out of respect, Mike Modano, who I just mentioned, went to Detroit, and then they didn't dress him for his 1,000th game, right? So there's a few things that you have a hard time to understand why certain coaches do certain things. Tonight, I think Marc-Andre Fleury would have been a fit. And then if Marc-Andre Fleury gets in net against Montreal, he should be in net for that next game. It's going to be a tougher one. I think the easier game, whether it's a back-to-back, right? Dos à dos, that we say in French.
Back-to-back.
I can't get used to say that.
French,
but I guess against Chicago, it should be.
Although I'll say this,
struggling there.
I think Modano was a healthy scratch in his 1,500th game, not 1,000.
It was because
1499, right?
You're so right, because I was there as his 1,000 game party and 1,000 game or 1,000 point. His agent that later robbed him, right? Remember that his agent took a lot of money from him. I was at the party for his 1,000 game and 1,000 points, so 1,500 games. Sorry about that. You're more of a stat guy.
But that he finished his career at 1499. And who was that? Mike Babcock.
Exactly.
He should have handed Babcock his phone years ago. He would have made him play in that game. Babcock would have been happy. All right, okay. Let's talk about let's talk about the game tonight. So the Canadiens win this one. It's a big one. I had a feeling that going into this game, after the fact that they were up 4-0 against the Islanders got back in the game, scored 3 goals. The Canadiens scored, to seal the deal at 5-3. I had a feeling that the Canadiens, to give themselves a shot in this game, We're going to try and keep it very, very tight and rather defensive. I also knew that goals were going to be tough to come by because the Jets have not allowed more than 2 goals in quite some time. But the Canadiens played better in their zone. Yes, the Jets really poured it on in period number 3. But for the first 2 periods, the Canadiens played very tight defensive hockey.
They did good, but who's in that? Jake Allen, right? Jake Allen's been searching for a win. I'm sure Jake Allen's a very good teammate. I've heard about him. I've known about him. He was in Drummondville. My son knows him a little bit, and I've only heard good things when he was a pro. So you get Jake Allen in that. You get Anderson that's playing better now. All we do in Montreal is talk about the young players. We're young, and it's a little bit of an excuse. It's a hockey school, whatever you call it. But those young players, they want to do well for the veteran guys. Right, so Josh Anderson played well the other day. Everybody's happy for him. He's feeling better. He's going on the road. He's playing well. Monahan plays well. Who made the difference tonight? Right, Dvorak, Anderson, Madison played pretty well. Savard's back in the lineup. They play better. And everybody wants to win for Jake Allen. So we focus a lot on the young group and what they had to learn. But those young guys, they also want to follow the older guys. They want to have. Everybody was happy for Anderson the other night. Everybody's happy for Jake Allen tonight. And that was a big part of tonight's win, I think. No, you look at Jake Allen, he's been through a lot. He doesn't play as much as he wants to. So I think that's why that they were a little bit tighter defensively. Hopefully the message is to be a little bit tighter. You don't have to put on a show on the road. If you want to win hockey games, if you want to be in the playoff picture, they do not have a standing in the locker room that was well documented last year. Hopefully they win enough games this year to bring that in the locker room, or maybe not put a centerpiece of the locker room, but to mention, hey boys, if we win that next one on the road, if we win when we get home, if we put a home stretch, because after every long trip there's a home stretch. So if you do play 500 here, maybe we get home and we put it together. And it was a pretty impressive game for them tonight. And to me, I'm happy to see that maybe trying to win a 1-0 hockey game, even though it was a few more goals to score than that. It's a good sign for me that everybody kind of played for one another. Everybody played a tough game because Winnipeg is a pretty tough team. To me, it's a significant win for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. Yeah,
look, I like Jake Allen tonight, and I thought they sheltered him pretty well. Like, yes, they gave up 32 shots, granted. But I thought they insulated him pretty good. I think he came up big when Winnipeg was on the power play because, of course, one of the big differences in this hockey game is that the Winnipeg Jets don't score any power play goals in this one, and the Montreal Canadiens end up scoring on the power play. So I think that's a big difference in the game. I'll tell you who else I like. A couple of players I really like tonight. Number one, Brendan Gallagher again worked his ass off. Like, he fought for every single inch of ice in tonight's game. And look, a lot of people always look at the contract, but Brendan Gallagher worked really hard tonight. That was a hard-working line. That line with, Gallagher and Dvorak and Anderson, they did well.
Yeah, I agree. He's been playing is he going to put up big numbers? No, he's not. He's going to get 30, 40 goals again. Let's hope so that he gets back in shape and confidence, and maybe next year he becomes that again. But he's a factor. He has a role in where Montreal is going right now because he's got a letter on his jersey. He got that contract. He earned that contract. We can debate about the length of the contract and the money, but it was given to him because he probably earned it. But I think he took the summer seriously. You wish he scored more goals, but he's part of I think the veteran players are more involved, and they're getting where Montreal is going this year. We don't talk about rebuilding as much. We don't know what's being said in the locker room. Like, we don't like to talk about playoffs all that much because I think a lot of us don't really believe it. But what's being said in the locker room, what our veteran guys are saying, is Monahan in the locker room looking to go somewhere else to win a cup, or is Monahan saying the right things about, hey, once we get healthy, we might get into the playoffs. So I think Gallagher is part of that. Gallagher knows he's not going to go anywhere, right? He's not going to get traded. He's got the heavy contract. He's done well. A guy that I really like tonight, and I've been bringing him up quite a bit lately, I think, and I included Ilonen every time I talked about that because they were both on the fourth line. But
Jake Evans,
more of Ilonen, more Evans. Montreal is a better team. Ilonen's got, he's a little bit of a younger guy. I love Jake Evans, and if Montreal is going to go somewhere in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think he needs to be around. He needs to be around in that third and fourth line. He's not going to be a top 6 guy.
Wow,
but why not? Is he hurting the team right now as a number 3 center?
No, definitely not. As a matter of fact, I'm relatively surprised that Evans' minutes going up probably about 4 minutes a game. He had 16-30 tonight. 62.5% in the faceoff
He's
circle.
doing everything well.
He had 3 shots. He had an assist. Played good, Jake Evans.
Reminds me of Stu Barnes I played with. And I brought, Stu Barnes was a fourth-line center that played 20 minutes a night because he played every kill penalties. We haven't seen him on the power play yet or here and there, but he's a very smart player, understands the situations. I'm sure he's a good teammate. I think for Montreal, when Kirby Dach comes back, if he ever stays healthy, he's going to be a number 2 center to start or maybe a number 3. But Jake Evans, if you have Suzuki, whoever you have, a strong number 1, strong number 2, if Jake Evans is your number 3 center for the next 5 or 6 years, you're going to be a good team because he can do it all. He can go back on the wing. He can play right wing, left wing, kill a penalty. He's got good stats for a guy that's never been used really on any very offensive situations.
Couple of defensemen I liked. We talked about Barron. I thought Barron was good tonight. I mean, here's a guy that a lot of people thought was a defensive liability going into the season. 20 minutes and 45 seconds. He's got a hit in this hockey game. He's got 3 shots. Of course, he scores what ends up being the game-winning goal. I thought he was pretty good. Michael Matheson with an assist, of course, in the hockey game as well on, was it Josh Anderson's goal? No, Dvorak's goal. Pardon me. Yeah, he's the one who keeps it in. We talked about. Anderson tonight. Matheson tonight played a second shy of 26 minutes.
He was just asked. I think when Savard was out, he was asked to do everything.
Yeah.
So he was exposed. And then another one that's good and that is good every night is Gooley. Gooley he's a -1 tonight, but he did a lot of good things. Gooley can play against anyone. So when you have, I would say, a top 3 with Madison, that he's got big minutes because they had power plays, but you can take him off the ice against the first line all the time. You don't expose him as much as when Gooley was injured or when Savard was injured. Madison can be pretty good, especially when you use him in offensive situations. So it's a pretty good top 3 group of defensemen there, especially when Barons plays that well and he fits in as number 4 or number 5.
Yeah. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. The Sick Podcast also brought to you in part by La Bitte TB, brewed in Quebec, a winner of a dozen international awards. La Bitte TB offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bitte TB, embrace your true nature. Also, we welcomed a couple of weeks ago to the Sick Podcast, and we continue to welcome them, Accent Insurance Solutions, a new partner over the last couple of weeks of the Sick Podcast. You know, all insurance isn't created equal, and you know where to find the right solution for you. Accent Insurance. Accent doesn't sell insurance. They shop it for you. That's what they do to find the right product, right on the money, whatever your insurance needs, whether it's home, whether it's automobile, whether it's business. And when I saw Accent's phone number, I immediately thought of my former colleague, Sergio Momesso, because, of course, number 36 and their number to call is 514-363-3636. I came across a stat, Michael Matheson, defensive giveaways. Unfortunately, he's not in a very nice category in the National Hockey League. I think he's 5th or 6th in the entire league in defensive zone giveaways. I look at that without dissecting it. I look at that, and once again, I say, well, it's a guy who plays a heck of a lot of minutes on an average team. That's got to be one reason. In his zone, does he concern you to the point where you think he's a liability? Yes or no?
I'm more concerned about how the whole group plays and how much emphasis we put on it. I think we just let them go. Montreal, they score the most goals by defensemen, unless it changed. It was that last week, and they don't have a Letang, they don't have a Carlson, they don't have a Hughes, they don't have a McCarr. they let them go. So if you let them go, you want them to join the rush sometime. They'll take chances and they'll join the rush a little bit too early. I think it's more of a Martin likes to talk about team concept. I think a team concept is if we want to get some offense with an average group of forwards, we need our Ds involved. So he is prone to giveaways. You make more giveaways when you play a lot, when you take chances, when you play on a team that plays. Like Montreal has won some games, but they've been trailing quite a bit this year. So when you need a goal, you need 2 goals, you take the goalie out, you take more chances. So you're prone to giveaways. But, it's not a stat you want to be at the top of the league with. But to me, it's when he has tonight he has a good game. I think when he has enough night, he has too much of them. And he may be a little bit tired in there in back-to-back games. Yeah. Then it kind of exposed himself a little bit. But hey, it was a good trade. Montreal should be happy to have him around. And then when I say Evans should be around let's hope he's around when Montreal has a good team. I think Madison needs to be around because as much as I like the young players in the team, if Montreal wants to win a cup in 3 or 4 or 5 years, they'll need veteran help on the back end. And Madison is a good player, a good citizen, a leader. He's well liked in Montreal. He has things he needs to work on. He's a little bit exposed. When Montreal doesn't do well, he's at the forefront because we go after the older guys a little bit more because we want the young guys. We protect the young guys, but he's having a good year. He's progressing because he wasn't that player when he was in Florida or when he was in Pittsburgh. I think with every night, every game, he's becoming a better player. But again, as the younger guys should be better with veteran players, when Savard is in the lineup, I think Madison is a better player.
Yeah. My buddy JC has an opinion that not that the Canadiens got it wrong with Matheson by giving him an A, but he thought that David Savard would have been more worthy of that A. Without getting into that, because I don't want to, I would have no problem if David Savard had an A because he leaves it all on the ice. But I think Matheson's done a real good job of carrying that A on his jersey. He
has. And the leadership group is very the captain is very young on that team, and Gallagher, and he has experience. But there's guys on the team. I'll bring that back. I'm sure there's people that are listening to us that know about junior hockey. I was in junior hockey for a long time. You don't need to give an A or a C to earn overage. He knows he's a leader anyway. You don't need to give Savard a letter. He knows he's a leader anyway. Yeah. So I'm sure they met with Savard here. Hey, does that bother you? Madison is from Montreal. We traded for him. We want to give him a better role. We want him to do it. And he's maybe he earned it better than Savard. But if you had to pick between the two, probably Savard just understand, hey, I don't need an A. I know who I am. I know what I mean to the team. And I'm going to help Madison. I'm going to help Suzuki in their leadership. So he carries it well. He's proud to play in Montreal. He makes some mistakes, like you said, but he gives it. Every night in, night out, he's going to give you everything he has. And when he doesn't do well, he knows, and he wants to do better, and he's proud to wear the jersey.
Let's bring up the Montreal Canadiens lines if we can. And Yellow, Sammy, Juliana, and Master Control. It is the Sick Podcast if we can. There we go. Suzuki with Slafkovsky on his right and Caufield on his left. Evans with Monahan on his left. And Josh Anderson on his right. Dvorak with Gallagher and Armia. As a matter of fact, I think I had said at one point it was Dvorak, Gallagher, and Anderson, but they chipped in on that goal. Stevens with Yulanen and Pizzetta. On defense, Matheson, Savard, Gouli, and Baron, Struble, and Kovacevic with Jake Allen in goal. Let's bring up the Winnipeg Jets lineup now if we can. Okay, so Scheifele with Ehlers on his left and Velarde on his right. And with Dylan and Pionk and Hellebuck. Okay, that was the starting lineup and not their actual roster. But take a look at this, okay? Take a look at these players. Ehlers, Scheifele, Velarde. Yeah. That's Winnipeg's number one line, all right? Ehlers, Scheifele, and Velarde. What I'm getting at is the Canadiens, Velarde scored a goal. Okay, with less than a minute to go in period number 2. But other than that, Scheifele and and Ehlers. Ehlers got himself an assist in 21 minutes. Scheifele got no points. That's a heck of a hockey game for Nick Suzuki too.
Yeah,
Nick Suzuki played a heck of a hockey game tonight. Like he gets one assist in the game, but he's 53.9% in the faceoff circle. He played 23-48.
That number one line is playing pretty well. Like Suzuki plays against top lines, plays on the PK, plays the power play. He's involved in all situations. Caufield is your goal scorer, but he set up a few chances, especially in the third, that where they could have scored there. And Slafkovsky is playing really well. Honestly, like we need to be patient.
Yeah,
he's going somewhere. That kid is really, and the kid is going somewhere, right? He's only 19 years old, so the top line can
looking
play
like
just
a horse right now. Looking like a horse.
Yeah, and everybody hopes it's going to turn out okay. Like, and honestly, he's got patience, he's got size, he's skating well. He's the problem with the Montreal Canadiens right now is they don't really have, other than Caufield, natural goal scorer. Because Slafkovsky will become, I hope so, in due time, a goal scorer. He's going to be a little bit selfish because you need to be selfish to be a goal scorer, but he can move that puck around. So if he had better players and whenever he plays with Caufield that gets hot, I think he's going to get him to produce. So back to what you're saying, that's a very good first line for the Winnipeg Jets, and that's why they've won so many games lately. But the first line did good. Suzuki's very responsible. I think he brings that. Whoever plays with him wants to be responsible. Whoever plays with him, are they going to get as productive as we'd like the first line to be? Don't know. Not just yet. Yeah. But if you're going to win hockey games 2-1 and 3-2 and 4-3 and 1-0, Suzuki's a hell of a center that you can build around.
A shout out to Optimal Stretch Clinic. Whether you're an athlete looking to enhance your performance, a busy professional seeking relief from stress, or someone simply wanting to improve your overall well-being, Optimal Stretch Clinic has got your back. Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to the new you. Don't settle for limitations. Stretch your way to a happier, healthier you, located at 4710 Saint Ambroise. Book your appointment as soon as possible. All right. And I have to tell you, they've been taking care of me. At one point, they saw me hurting my shoulder, my wrist, and and they reached out to me and they said, hey, we want to give you a stretch. We want to give you a massage. We want to take away your aches and pains, and we want you to feel better. And they really have done that. Mission accomplished for me and the rest of my family, of course. And Agnello Cavallaro of Master Control is going to go by and see them quite possibly on Thursday afternoon. Check out Charlie and Sam. They run a great clinic. It's a one-stop shop. They have all the services that you're going to need. Unbelievable. Fascia stretch therapy, or fascia, I believe it's called. Anyway, they're the experts, not me. Check them out. We're going to get to your calls in about 5 or 6 minutes. So, Phil, I'll keep you for another 5 or 6.
Yep.
And then we'll get to your calls. I'm going to give you the number already, folks, so you can jot it down. You can get ready. Maybe even jump on a line right away, and Agnello will make sure that you're going to be in the queue at 1-888-585-SICK. That's 1-888-585-7425. No need to worry. It is a toll-free number. So I'm going to get to your calls in about 5 minutes' time. All right, okay. We just talked about the game that Nick Suzuki played, going up against the Scheifeles of the world and really doing such a good job. Slafkovsky, you said he's going places. We're going to get to him in a minute, but I want to touch on Caufield because Marty St. Louis is not the first coach to say, I want to make one player in particular a much better all-round player. And a lot of coaches have succeeded in taking a player under their wing and saying, I want to teach this player the 200-foot game. I want to teach this player to play better defensively, because if he does, he'll get the offense. But some players, Phil, sorry for this, but some players, they just, you can't change who they are, because who they are is what makes them special. Are you at all worried about Marty St. Louis wanting to change Cole Caufield's game?
What is Marty supposed to say? Marty is protecting Caufield. Marty's telling defensemen, go. Don't worry, you can make a turnover. Go on the offense. We want to play that way. We want to play offense. That's what we want to do. You think he's telling Cole Caufield to block shots and to play defense, and he's watching? He's protecting him. Cole Caufield is struggling right now. So Martin St. Louis goes to the media and says, hey, it's okay. We want him to play the better. Is Caufield killing penalties? Is Caufield on the ice at the end of games? Is Caufield blocking shots? He's not asked to do that. Martin St. Louis right now wants Cole Caufield to score goals, to express himself, to respect a few concepts defensively. Right? Don't turn the puck over. Don't do certain things that you already know you're not going to do. But right now, Martin St. Louis is taking a little bit of the heat off Caufield because we want Caufield to succeed. We want him to score goals. He's got the pressure. Everybody loves him. We expect him to score 30. Well, we wish he would have scored 30, 40, 50 goals, and there was a lot of pressure. So there's Martin St. Louis when he goes to the media and says, oh, we want him to play a 200-foot game. He's just taking a little bit of pressure off him. There's no way Martin sits there and watch tons of clip with him and saying, hey, stop and start, don't do that. Because he plays the game the right way. He back checks, he stops and starts. He's not costing the team a lot defensively. He's not expected to be killing penalties, blocking shots, and be on the ice in the last minute with a 1-goal lead. I think when Marty says that, it's just he's a smart guy, and he's been in that role where you need to produce. I think it's more of a coach protecting him. What he says, things like that, and he wants them to go. He wants everybody to go. Martin wants he wants a team fun to watch that's going to score goals, that's going to respect a few principles defensively, but he's not ever going to turn it into a trap team or the New Jersey Devils of the 90s. He's going to let them express themselves. He won on an offensive team. So when I think Marty says things like that, it's just about protecting a young player that's struggling to score goals right now.
Wow, that's a really interesting point, Phil. No one's brought that up until now, at least not that I've heard of, because everyone's saying, hey, you know what? Look, Caufield, ever since they're trying to change his game, he's struggling. He's not putting up points. And you say, hold on a second.
No.
Is Caufield on the penalty kill? The answer to that is no. Is Caufield on the ice in the last minute of play if the Canadiens are up by a goal?
And I think he was on the ice against the Islanders.
Correct. I'm thinking about the game versus the Islanders. Slafkovsky was on the ice. Suzuki was on the ice. But Caufield was not on the ice. Dvorak was on the ice.
Yep.
Mind you, also, because you want two centermen on the ice in case one loses the draw, you have the other one. But why Slafkovsky on the ice in the final minute, up by a goal, protecting a lead?
Because he's playing
and
well.
Not a more experienced Caufield, because he's playing well, bigger, stronger, harder to move. But
and there's no pressure on Caufield or on Slafkovsky to score right now. There will be. He's a first overall pick, but everybody likes what he brings right now. So there's not as much pressure. He's going to need to be on the ice with a big body, smart guy, good stick late in the game if he wants to be live up to the expectation of a number one pick and play 20-some minutes a night. But Caufield, you never expected him to do that. He probably never did at the college level. I think it's just Martin being very protective of a young player, which is fine. And like Anderson, Anderson works when goals comes, he come in bunches. When Caufield starts to score again, they're going to come in bunches big time. So Martin wants to protect him, wants to be there for him. That's my view on it. It's just protecting the player, which is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and that's something. So, and you know what? Marty has protected some of his players, and he protected Josh Anderson last week. It was on Thursday after practice, following the loss versus the Penguins, that members of the media were saying, hey, Marty, is it time to take Josh Anderson out of the lineup? And he said, no, it's not time to. We're not doing that with Josh Anderson. And you know what? He probably gave him one of his best games of the year. Well, his most offensive, productive game of the season with 2 goals, of course. Okay, Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky, I want to. He's not getting tagged anymore. Like, he's got confidence. He's making plays. He's not getting rid of the puck for no reason. I mean, credit once again to St. Louis, because we were a lot that were doubting whether or not the best development was here or in Laval. And, Slafkovsky went from a guy who was getting rid of the puck and didn't have a lot of confidence and was losing some battles to doing all of those things right like that overnight.
Well, Martin St. Louis and the assistant coaches spend a lot of times with players like that, and they do video. And Slafkovsky, with a big body, he's a smart player. He did produce when he was at the elite level as a 17, 18-year-old, whatever, in the Olympics. And he was able to do well because he had confidence, he had time, he had patience. And nobody can take the puck away from him when he puts it in the right spot. And he has the ability to pass it. And he's got the skating. So, again, it's patience, pressure, 19-year-old moving to a new city, not knowing the language, getting better with the language, getting to understand. There's a lot of pressure in Montreal because he seems to be a very good kid, very good person, and means well. But everything's going to come in due times. Everything's going to come with patience. You can't teach talent. He has a talent. You have size or you don't.
Yeah,
and he has the size, he has the talent, and I think that they waited the right time to put on the first line. He's doing good on the first line. We all wish that first line would produce a little bit more, but arguably, even though, like, I agree with you, Suzuki played well tonight, he's been the best player on that first line for a few weeks now because he can play in all situations, because he can bring you a lot, because he wants to be involved physically. I like a lot of what, and I don't like to compare players.
Yeah.
But Joe Thornton was a first overall pick that didn't pan out in Boston. I'm sure they regret moving him for the following 20 years because he just retired last year, I believe. So, or more than 20 years. And I think I'm not saying he's going to get
Wayne Primo and Marco Sturm, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a decent trade for both teams at the time, but 20 years later, I'm not saying Slafkovsky is going to get 1,600 points, but he has the abilities. If Montreal again is going to be a good team, you need weapons. You need more than one weapons. And if Montreal gets to the Stanley Cup, they're going to need free agents. They're going to need good goaltending.
Yeah.
They don't have a Matthews. They don't have a McDavid. They're never going to get that because they missed out on Connor Bedard. But they're going to have a very good group of solid players that just say like maybe Tampa had or maybe more Chicago. You know, it was a solid. There were some stars in the team. There was a solid group of players. If Montreal's ever going to win, Slafkovsky is going to be a big part of that. And I think, to me, if they're ever going to win, he's going to need to be the best forward. I don't want to put too much pressure on him. I want to be patient with him in my comments and everything, but I think he's going to need to be the best forward on the team if Montreal is ever going to win, and he has all the tools to do it.
Phil, great stuff as usual. Have a great night, my man.
You too,
I appreciate
bud.
it. Thank you. There. All right. There. Thank you very much. There you have it. Philippe Boucher, former NHLer. Experience the world-renowned poker experience with free food and drinks at their cash game tables. Of course, I'm talking to you about Playground, the Bad Beat jackpot that is over $500,000, weekly promotions, daily tournaments, and unmatched customer service. Why play anywhere else? That's what I keep on asking people. They're located just over the Mercier Bridge, only minutes from downtown Montreal. It is Playground. And speaking of Playground, if you play poker, you know that every now and then you're going to have to call. Like you can call me. You called? Next.
You called? Presented by Playground.
Would allow us to play music right about now, because it would be the perfect opportunity to put on Call Me. Remember that? Call Me, yeah. That would be perfect, would it not? Right. So call me 1-888-585-SICK 1-888-585-7425. Color me your color, baby. Color me your car. Color me your color, darling. I know who you are. Come up off your color chart. I know where you're coming from. Call me. All right, I'm going to stop it there. I think Blondie was a little better than I was. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Jeff in Dorval. Jeff, what's going on? Jeff, we're on a 7-second delay. Turn off the volume, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, off your smart television, whatever. What's going on, Jeff?
Well, good and you. It's a good day. Canadiens win, so we're all good tonight.
All depending on 2 points out of a wild card spot, 3 points, all depending on if you want to make sure you get in, of course, because the Capitals have 3 games in hand. But hey, who would have thought Who would have thought 31 games in that the Montreal Canadiens, they would have thought, I guess, because this is what Gordon, Hughes, and St. Louis wanted, right? A team that was going to battle, that is going to be in the mix right until the end. This is a very important road trip. Jeff, what did you think of tonight's hockey game?
Yeah, honestly, the thing that impressed me most about the Habs, their defense, and they're like top 3 scoring right now. This has impressed me, and we have Lane Hudson waiting for he's going to be at the end of the season when he's in his college. Wow, we have a good defense now. We got to straighten our forward now.
Yeah,
if we got good forwards from now on, it could score because we're last in the
By the way, the Habs have Winnipeg's number or what? It just seems like every time they go to that building, they're extremely comfortable against the Winnipeg Jets. And that was Morantz who actually was it Morantz? No, it was Festivus who brought it up. And Bobby Design also says if the Habs can stay around 500, at least we'll have some meaningful games to watch past January this year, because he's right about that. I can tell you tank all I want, because you know what? If you tank and you lose a lot of games, well, then you can end up getting, a much lower pick in the draft or a much better pick in the draft, which, you would hope is going to end up being a better player. But the one thing the media wants is that, the Canadiens play meaningful games as far into the season as possible, because sometimes when you're not playing meaningful games, some people detach. So we don't want them to detach. Yeah, but I know I don't have to worry about that because I have loyal listenership and loyal viewership here. It's a sick army. It's a sick community. Who's your favorite player in tonight's hockey game, my man, Jeff?
My 2 favorite players on the Canadiens is Cole Caufield. I know he's in the slump right now, and Mike Madison. He's from.
No, not your favorite players. Who was your favorite player in the game tonight?
Oh, tonight. Oh, Jesus. Madison on defense. He
was good.
And also on offense, he was always tonight. He was one of their best players tonight, honestly. And Josh Anderson, the last 2 games, he impresses me. Most 2 games. About last week,
ever since the fight versus the Florida Panthers, he's been transformed. I think he now has I think it's 4 goals and 3 assists, 7 points, I believe, ever since that fight, something like that. But hard to argue with your answers. Josh Anderson, a goal and an assist tonight. Michael Matheson, 1 assist, played 26 or 27 minutes or whatever it was, 1 second shy of 26 minutes for Michael Matheson. He gets the assist on the Dvorak goal. He ends up getting tripped with less than a minute to go in regulation, and the Canadiens end up scoring the overtime winner on the power play. Jeff, thank you so much, my man. You've been heard. That was Jeff and Dorval. Right. More calls at 1-888-585-6 1-888-585-7425. Stefan from Quebec City, give Agnello a call if you haven't already, because I'd like to take down your coordinates, because I want to send you something, because you drove like 5 hours to come see us on Saturday night. I wish I could have spent all night with Stefan, but unfortunately I had to, I was jumping from one person to the other. Sylvain is in Blainville. Sylvain, comment ça va?
Ça va bien, toi, Tony?
Moi, ça va très bien, merci, Sylvain.
Listen, Tony, I love your podcast. I'm French-Canadian. I'm living in Blainville, but I'm finding out myself watching you all the time. I love your style. I love the way you bring that sport. I think you're the best sporting journalist I'll say in Quebec or in Canada, but you're very passionate. It was very nice to see you, react to the draft. You were almost dying, but I love your podcast.
Yeah, merci beaucoup, Sylvain. Ça fait extrêmement plaisir. Puis je suis content quand j'ai décidé d'y aller travailler en français à la radio, à BPM Sport, puis à TVA Sport. Je pensais que le monde me connaissait déjà, mais je savais que c'était une belle opportunité pour me faire connaître de beaucoup plus de monde. Et depuis, ça a été extraordinaire. Il y a beaucoup plus de gens qui me connaissent aujourd'hui. Ça a été bon pour moi. Ça a été bon pour mon podcast. Vois-tu, comme tu viens de mentionner, tu ne me connaissais pas vraiment avant. Là, tu as appris à me connaître. Là, tu tu es tombé sur mon podcast, là, tu regardes mon podcast, là, tu m'appelles, tu me parles en anglais, moi, je te réponds en français, tu me montres du respect,
You know
je
what
te
I
montre
love
du
about
respect,
you?
c'est
You're
parfait, là.
exactly what a Quebecois should be. I mean, you're the type. I mean, you're here. You speak the 3 languages. Sometimes you interact in Italian. My family is Fury. Okay, my family. And when you say Mosito and all those things, I'm talking about what does it mean, Mosito or all these things. You're what it is, man. You understand. I mean, you know, you speak all the languages. This is great, and you're passionate. You're loving hockey. I mean, I love your podcast. You're the best. You're the best.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I really
Ça fait extrêmement plaisir. Sylvain, tell me your thoughts on the game. Your thoughts.
Okay, my favorite player tonight, Tony, is Anderson by far. But the last 10 games, Juraj Slafkovsky, I don't understand. I mean, all the dénigreurs of Slafkovsky, he should go back. We were listening to André Tourigny saying it's not a league of, you have to, it's not a what do you call that?
A development league.
It is. Stop it. Where do you want Juraj Slafkovsky? Do you want it in Laval, losing 8 games in a row? With Mr. Hull, and I love Mr. Hull, okay, or with Martin and all the guys, this is the place to be, and this guy is carrying the trio. I'm forgetting because look at this, Suzuki and also Caufield, they're playing good, but the guy that is the pillar at the moment, it's Juraj. Juraj is playing very well. I think we should take maybe 2 minutes out of the time for Suzuki, out of the PK, because this guy needs all his, because he's not a speedster, and he should be playing less on the PK. I think so. The rest, it's all their calls, but my opinion is less PK, give that to other guys, and, reduce his time a little bit, and that's what I think.
Sylvain va dire quelque chose, là. Ce qu'André Tourigny a dit, là, c'est pas le seul à dire ça. La Ligue nationale, c'est pas une ligue de développement. Tu fais le développement dans la Ligue américaine. Mais je pense qu'avec la venue de Martin Saint-Louis, et je pense le projet de Kent Hughes et Jeff Gorton, ils ont amené Adam Nicholas pour le département de développement. Ils ont une belle équipe de développement. Je pense que les Canadiens sont un peu, tranquillement, sont en train de changer la donne dans la Ligue nationale. Tranquillement, ils sont en train de montrer aux gens que tu peux développer même dans la Ligue nationale. Mais là aussi, ça dépend quel joueur, puis c'est sur quoi tu dois t'améliorer. Je te donne un exemple. Dans le cas d'Herbert Jacquet, un gars avec un talent limité comparativement à Slafkovsky, avec un plafond plus bas que Slafkovsky, évidemment, eux autres, ils ont dit, pour toi, il faut que tu t'en vas à Laval. Pour un gars comme Slafkovsky, ils se sont dit, ça, c'est un premier choix au repêchage. C'est un gars que nous, on pense là, pour être un joueur de concession à un moment donné. Nous, on aimerait travailler avec lui ici à Montréal et on aimerait qu'il s'entraîne avec des joueurs de la Ligue nationale à tous les jours. Pour certains, ils se sont dit, hey, je ne sais pas comment ça va fonctionner là, parce que le gars, il va avoir un chute de confiance. Moi aussi, j'étais parmi ceux qui ont dit pas de le laisser aller à Laval. Moi, j'ai dit ça. Moi, j'ai dit, j'ai peur. Moi, j'ai dit, j'ai peur pour sa confiance à un moment donné, mais j'ai dit, avant de l'envoyer à Laval, j'aimerais le voir avec Suzuki et Caufield pour un échantillon de 10 matchs. Put him with Suzuki and Caufield for 10 games. Let's see with better players if he can take his game, because sometimes if you're not producing, it's not that you're no good. Sometimes it's a question of who you're playing with. And when you play with better players, you will end up playing better. So I said, put him with those guys for 10 games, and let's see what happens. And if he can't pick up points, if he can't show well in those games, then at that point, we could send him to Laval once we know we've exhausted all avenues. But you're right, puis je dois dire, chapeau à Martin Saint-Louis et à son staff, parce qu'ils sont en train d'accomplir avec Slafkovsky ce qu'ils voulaient accomplir. C'est de le développer et de voir une progression tranquillement, pas vite, à tous les jours. Moi, je suis en train de voir la lumière au bout du tunnel là, avec Slafkovsky. Là. Puis si ça continue de même, là, Slafkovsky, là, Slafkovsky, c'est un cheval. Là.
It is. I think he's going to go around 50, 75 points per year. He's going to be a pillar. Who's going to win battles on the boards against that guy? He's turning his back. He's like, he was too polite last year. And he doesn't have 82 games in his experience. He's only had like what, even 50 games, 59, 60 games.
Yeah.
Imagine 82 games. 22, 23 years old, this guy's going to be a machine. No, I really like him. And if he would have stayed in Finland or the other place, he would have dominated by his physique. And this is exactly what the Canadian wanted to break. He has to dominate with other things. He was playing with one hand and stuff like that. He's progressing like incredible. Well, this guy is for me, I'm talking about this guy. You could see also he had an interview at RDS at the other place. Yeah. And they were amazed by the way he was candid. He was, you know, this guy will be loved by the fan in the future.
Oh, wait the 3-4 more years when he fills out into his body the way, hopefully better than the way I have. Hey, mon ami, en terminant, in ending, I want to ask you something. You're encouraged about Slafkovsky. Are you at all worried about Cole Caufield? You heard what Philippe Boucher had to say. Philip doesn't buy the whole notion that St. Louis is working to make Caufield a 200-foot player. He doesn't buy that they're trying to improve Caufield's game to make him play an overall better game. Philippe Boucher believes Caufield is struggling, point à la ligne, and Marty St. Louis is defending him by telling the media that he's working with Caufield to make him play a more complete game. What do you think about that? Tu penses quoi, toi?
What do I think is he's not asking for a 200 feet game. He's asking, give me my part and I'll give you, meet me in middle. And if he does that and he does a very good breakout and he's doing well, he's going on the boards, he is struggling. He is right. He was using, he was used to, to feint a little bit and then shooting. He's not doing that anymore. He shoots and he doesn't move. Now he's trying to deke a little bit and then to make. You can see his pattern when it's 3 against 3. He arrives, he contourne, and then he dekes, and then he shoots. He's not doing that anymore. And one thing that this is important that I found out, and Jeff Petrie was killing his option of the one-timer. Right. Madison is doing the same thing. Check that, Tony, okay? Whenever the D is closing the gap and going towards the center of the net, right, there's no more angle. Go look Ovechkin, one-timer. Look at his one-timer, and they're far away on the right. Okay, he is righty. Okay, Caufield, they need to make the pass farther away. When you close the gap in the middle, he doesn't have an angle. It's very difficult at this angle to make a one-timer. They should pass. They should attract everybody on the right, and then do a pass to Caufield, and Caufield should be a little bit inside the dot, just a little bit. Now,
Sylvain, I agree with you 100% parce que va dire quelque chose là. Caufield là, il y a un tir précis, mais c'est pas un tir puissant, par exemple. C'est pas que c'est pas puissant, mais c'est pas un tir à la Ovechkin là. C'est pas un tir à la Brett Hall là. C'est pas ça. Donc Caufield, il doit s'approcher un peu pour marquer des buts avec ses tirs de précision parce qu'il n'y a pas la force que ces gars-là ils ont eu sur leur tir. Et depuis la blessure, puis depuis la chirurgie, moi, je pense, puis je n'ai pas le data pour le confirmer, mais selon moi, d'après ce que je vois avec mes yeux, je pense qu'il a perdu quelque chose sur son lancer, là. Je pense qu'il a perdu un peu quelque chose. Puis ça se peut que ça revienne, là.
But I'm telling you, if they're not attracting all the 4 guys in the PK on the right side, he's not close enough.
No.
You need to get a little bit inside of the dot.
Yes, and you need to have another player who can score goals. So now all of a sudden, your power play is less predictable, right? Not everyone's keying in on Caufield if they know that there's another Caufield on the other wing. Sylvain, I very much appreciated this phone call. I thank you so much for the kind words, and I hope that all the francophones watching tonight, they'll be encouraged to give me a call because this is not just because the show is mostly in English, it doesn't mean it has to be all English. I want it to be inclusive to everyone. I want it to be inclusive to Montreal Canadiens fans all over the world, and even non-Montreal Canadiens fans, but hockey fans, those who have a passion for the game, to call in. And if you want to speak in French, I'll speak in French. You want to speak in English, I'll speak in English. Se mi vuoi parlare in italiano, ti parlo in italiano.
Something beautiful, Tony. You represent what's the reality of Montreal, of the Quebec at the moment.
Thank you.
I love you for that. This is who we are as Quebecers. We're proud of that, and we're proud to be Canadian. Thank you, Tony, for being with us.
Merci beaucoup, Sylvain. This guy sounds like an amazing guy. I need to meet this gentleman. As a matter of fact, Sylvain, Sylvain, if you can, stay on with Agnello while I break away here. Because if, at any point, if you'd like to meet up, I'd love to take you for a coffee or for lunch one day. Because I'd love to get to meet you. If that's if you'd like, we'll take your number.
Absolutely.
I'll contact you.
I have 3 kids. I have a son that played hockey like junior A for Ontario for a long time. I know my hockey, and also I'm a passionate like you.
Good for you. Why don't you do this? We're gonna break away now, and then you can call back 1-888-585-7425. I'll tell Agnello to get your coordinates, and you and I will meet at one point, whether it's coffee or lunch or whatever it is. We'll meet, and we'll make Agnello pay even better. This way, everyone's happy, except for Agnello, of course. Hey.
Grazie mille, Tony.
Okay, grazie mille, says. Grazie a te. Thank you very much, Sylvain. There you have it. Marinaro, once again, I hope you enjoyed the Sick Podcast. Man, what a show. Great people. I absolutely love it. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider, once again, serving all of North America, driven to be different. Also brought to you by La Bitte TB, offering quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. Playground, I had a chance to see it. You had a chance to see it on Saturday night. It's unbelievable. The bad beat jackpots over $500,000 and the promotions and the giveaways and the tournaments and unmatched customer service. And now you have to see it. Oh my God, the new expanded, newly renovated, revamped playground. It's incredible. Accent Insurance Solutions, your one-stop shop for insurance, whether it be home, automobile, or business. Once again, I'll give you their number, 514-363-3636. And check out optimalstretchclinic.com on Instagram, in Point St. Charles, on St. Ambroise. And if you end up going on Wednesday or Thursday, there's probably a good chance that you're going to see me there because, the family has a couple of appointments scheduled. You should too, by the way. You're going to feel like a brand new person. For Agnello, Sammy, and Juliana at Master Control, the Montreal Canadiens win by a score of 3-2 in overtime, and surprising a lot of people in the process because not too many people gave the Montreal Canadiens a chance going into tonight's game. But I'm going to tell you a couple of things. I'm not going to say that Winnipeg is overrated because they're a good team, but obviously they're hurting with the loss of Kyle Connor. I will tell you they're overrated. They're overrated. Winnipeg's overrated. The Canadiens get goals, of course, by Josh Anderson, Christian Dvorak, and Justin Barron seals the deal on a power play in overtime. The Canadiens win by a score of 3-2. The Canadiens' next game is going to be on Thursday night when they visit the Wild in Minnesota. But between now and then, don't worry about it. Marinaro, the Sick Pocket. Once again, let's bring up the schedule one more time. We brought it up early in the show. One more time, let's bring up the schedule. There you have it. So they got the Wild on Thursday night. It's an 8 o'clock start, which means, folks, the game is probably going to end at around, let's just say 10:40, 10:45 or so. We're going to join you at 10:45. All right. So we'll make the game end. And then I would imagine we're going to do the same thing on Friday night after the Chicago game, which probably will be give or take just past 11 p.m. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place at 10 p.m. Mike Johnson is going to be one of the guests, maybe a second guest. We'll see tomorrow. But Mike Johnson, absolutely for sure. For Agnello, Sammy, Juliana, and Master Control, thank you so much for all your help because you're a big part of it. Because without you pressing all the buttons and doing everything in the background, I can't do what I do. I hope all of you enjoyed it. If you did, like it, share with your friends, comment sick, S-I-C-K. Leave us a 5-star review if you can on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. I'm Marinaro. Tell your friends about it. I speak English. Je parle français. Io parlo italiano. Sylvain, I love you. You made my night telling me those things, you beautiful things. You know what? It always feels good when you hear people tell you that they appreciate your work because Lord knows, we get a lot of messages and emails from people telling us when they don't like our work. So thank you, Sylvain. Thank you, all of you. Have a great night. Back tomorrow. Guess what? I'm going to surprise you. I'm going on the treadmill. Ciao.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.